Hey guys, this is the soap and blade for today, and this is the razor and brush. This is the same Yaqi 2-band that we used the other day, and we'll see if it has eased up a little bit, opened up a little bit. It did get better even during the first shave. The razor is also from Yaqi. It's a brass handle. Looks like it's got the DLC coating. You can tell by this profile that it's the pretty standard DE89 style head. Probably Zamac underneath that. I mean, it might be brass, but probably just Zamac. I couldn't pass it up. I rarely shave with this DE89 head, even on my Edwin Jagger and some of the other razors, because it's just not as smooth as so many of the other razors that I have. But this was looking pretty cool, and it was only $5, and I think I got it on one of those 11/11 sales. And so I just couldn't help it. So why not? Let's use it. And my little boy, he sometimes shaves with me. He'll probably think it's cool. I'll let him use that one. And in that razor, we're going to start out with one of my favorite blades. It does so well in many of my razors, Gillette Silver Blue. And then Mystic Water is a soap company, and lady runs that, and she has like Sterling, she has a lot of soap scents to choose from, and the performance is really good. I dare say this performance is better than Sterling. It's a little finicky when it comes to the water, but it's really, once you know a couple of things, then I haven't had a problem with it, and so I think we'll be fine. So I'm going to put this Badger back in the water so that it can just stay nice and hydrated, and let us put the blade in. So we've got two Yaqi things. All right, so this Gillette Silver Blue is going to be about the 5th use. So there we go, put the blade in the top cap. And this is the standard, man. If you look on the internet, on Amazon and eBay and stuff, where people are trying to rebrand razors, this is usually the head shape that you're going to see. Now, the reason I don't use it very much is it doesn't feel as solid at the blade edge. Now, while the top cap comes right up to the edge, the base does not, because these two rails here in the middle, that's as far as it touches the bottom of the blade. So you're going to have some chatter, some flexibility there, and so that doesn't inspire quite as much confidence and security and all that stuff. However, most people are fine with it. And so that's why it's a popular head. It's a competent head. I just like the other ones a little better. So here's a look at the profile there. Not too bad. Okay, now let's get my face wet. Not 24 hours since the previous shave, but definitely shavable. All right. I've also got this little Omega 80266 or something like that. I think might be the number based on Omega's website. And I just realized that I'm looking for some Omegas to bring into my collection, and I had one sitting around. This was kind of given to me for free in a batch, so I'm soaking it. So you'll see this guy around. I'll probably try to bring him into my borathon. So he's going to soak, and then after the shave, I'm going to work him with a soap. I've got some Mitchell's wool fat right up here. Maybe I'll lather that up. And so we can start putting him through wet, dry cycles. I'm sure he's going to need some time to have those tips get softer and get to be a more comfortable brush. And he's a prime candidate, if I like him, to yank that knot out of that cheap plastic handle and put it in something more ergonomic. All right, so I believe my Badger has had a nice little bit to soften up. I'm going to load it just like all my other soaps. This now holds quite a bit of water. Look at all that. Load it with just a damp brush, just a lightly wet brush. Okay, and then my records show that last time I used Mystic Water, a simple 20-second load with 2 teaspoons of water yielded 5 passes of soap. Now this has been a while since I've used this, maybe even a year. Let's do 30 seconds, just, you know. All right, 45 is rolling around right there, so we'll use that as a starting point and we'll stop at 15. Oh yeah, see I'll probably have too much lather, but let's just do it anyway, just to be on the safe side. 10 more seconds. Oh, good sandalwood scent. Man, nice. And there we go. It's a very, not bubbly, it's very pasty right now. Or creamy looking. It's not really pasty, but just creamy. Just there's a definite absence of water. It's a very thirsty soap once it comes time to build the lather. All right. Here's the key with Mystic Water. It's not hard. Dry bowl, not adding any water other than what's in the brush. Just stir like that for just a minute. Work that before you start adding water. And that's really it. And I am going to add the first bit of water in smaller increments than usual. Half teaspoon instead of the full teaspoon. Nice sandalwood scent. Mystic Water has a nice sample program too, similar to Sterling. You don't get quite as much soap as Sterling gives you, but it's a generous sample. And you basically, it's a little clunky, but I mean, she's probably just a one-person shop without a lot of, you know, website savvy, you know, that sort of thing. Basically, you buy the sample item, and then in the comments, you put in names of the samples that you want, up to 3 at a time. So it just amounts to a few dollars per sample. And this is a slick soap. Yep, and now it just looks like any other soap. At this point, I could probably add water almost as quickly as I want to. And that's the only trick. Just go at it on the brush for a little while in the bowl before you start to add water. Now, maybe I'll try the Marco method with this soap, just out of curiosity. It's where you come at the soap pretty much with as full of a brush as you can go, as you can have. Full of water is what I meant to say. Is that what I said? Just chock full of water. And you load for quite a while. I'm guessing because of all that water, sometimes it gets in the way. If you load with a lightly damp brush, I think it picks up the soap a little quicker. And so I think you're almost mixing up your lather at the same time as you're loading your brush with the Marco method. Some people really enjoy it. Sometimes it's a foolproof way to go. So if you're struggling with your lathers and stuff, try it. Look it up online. What was it? There's a guy that, he had a funny name like Manifesto or something like that, who was kind of the main guy everybody points to kind of learn the Marco method. And this lather's just, you know, looking terrific. The one thing about her soaps that I maybe wish was different was, man, I got about 10 different samples a while back, and went through them, and unfortunately several of the ones that I really enjoyed the scent of just weren't very strong. I would get the scent when I put my nose in the bowl, but that was really it. Okay, so we're looking at 4 teaspoons of water. It's looking pretty good. Kind of bring it down here. I may have put a little too much water in it. Let's feel of it. Yeah, I think maybe I did. So all we have to do there is I'm going to load up my face, and if it still seems like it needs some more soap, I'll go back to the puck for a couple of seconds of loading and then add that to my face. Let's not grab that puck yet. I may not need it. Just kind of pressing the brush down into the lather to get that lather in the middle of the brush. And yeah, let's now you can go back to that puck for like 10 seconds if you want, but that also means you'll usually have to add a bit more water. And so that's why I did it for just a little bit, because maybe then I won't have to, you know, add any water to what's already in the brush and on my face. Yeah, this is still a very scrubby Badger. Paints pretty well, but I mean, come on, pretty much any brush is going to paint well. All right. Now this smooth portion of the handle is slippery if your hands are wet. But obviously they've got 2 other portions of the handle here and here to grab onto. Let's test that out. Get a little soap on my fingers here. You know, that's not all that grippy. It's a very mild knurling, so it's comfortable, but it's not super secure with soapy fingers. All right, DE89 style head. Been a long time since I've used that one. Nice, not bad, not bad. You can hear a little bit of the scrapey audio. It's kind of standard from what I remember with using the DE89. Some people even prefer that kind of audio. Nothing wrong with that. Like most DE89s, just a medium aggression. Got all these soap dots on me. Okay, and rinse. All right, I thickened up the lather a little bit during the break. Just went back to the bowl for a few seconds again and brought that into the lather, mixed it around for maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Brush is reasonably easy to display now. I got a feeling it would get even, better with more uses. Not bad. During the rinse, I could really feel and enjoy the slickness that this soap has. Cross grain now. Not a lot of glide from this razor. I wonder if it's the soap or the razor or what. My guess is it's the razor. When you rinse your razor, if you have gently falling water, it should clear away all the soap that's in the razor without a problem. If you have to use a jet or turn it on really hard to get the soap out, that's often a sign that your lather's a little too dry, a little too thick. You need to add some water to that. I mean, unless you figured out that's your preference, but if you haven't, then I would add some more water to your lather and try that out. I'm enjoying this handle. The waist is a good grip for that kind of motion when I'm reaching across to the other side. And then that upper knurled part is nice when I'm able to hold it like my usual grip. No nicks, feel pretty comfortable at this point. All right, let's lather up for the third pass. Again, just kind of pressing the brush down in to shove that lather, because this is a dense knot, and so if you just do a sideways mix, you may not get a whole lot of lather in the center of the brush. The scent strength is pretty good. I'm able to enjoy it right now during the shave. Say it's a 4 out of 10. It's not strong. It's one of my favorite sandalwoods because of that. It's a Pretty authentic sandalwood scent. They're not adding a bunch of stuff in with the scent. And they're just letting the sandalwood be there. And then it's in a nice performing base. I'm able to go pretty fast because I've just got a lot of shaves under my belt. If you're new, don't sweat it. Take your time. As with so many sports, it's one of those things where doing it slow is the best policy, because then your muscles get used to doing those certain motions, and then you'll, without even thinking about it, you'll get faster. Just focus on your angles. Take your time. That'll be the best way to go. How does that little spot look right there? I think that's as good as I'm going to get it. A little water on my face. And you can just feel that water just activates that soap. Feel how slick it is. It's terrific. All right, let's do a full rinse. Now that my face is still got a little bit of moisture in it, throw in a balm. This is one that I've had for a long time. I used to be a person who got their information just from the reviews on Amazon, because I didn't know about the forums. And then one day I was reading on an Amazon comment about Reddit. Then I discovered later on Badger and Blade, those types of forums. DFS stands for Damn Fine Shave. Those are my two favorite forums for wet shaving info, in addition to Reddit. And I got this, 2017 or 16 or something like that. I just don't use it very much because my wife doesn't like sandalwood, so I just haven't used it too much. But I'm about to go to bed, so the sandalwood should be off by the time I wake up. All right, well, I'm liking this lather. I do have an excess. I did have to go back to the puck. So it sounds like the 30-second load might be the way to go. It's a good looking lather. 30-second load is probably the way to go. And I just put, by putting, did I put 4 teaspoons or 6? I think I announced it to you when I did it. Just put in too much water. Now those peaks are holding up their weight pretty well, but it looks like maybe this soap needs to kind of stay at maybe this consistency. You could probably get that a little wetter if you wanted. A little dry, but it's nice and creamy. It's not a top tier base. The slickness and the feel here is not top tier, but it's really good. Really good. Nothing wrong with this soap. And this may be one of her older formulations too. I actually recall some of my shaves with her other scents as being creamier and having a better slick feel than this. Don't know if she's made formula changes, but it seems like it. I told you about how much water I used. It's either 4 or 6 teaspoons. I enjoyed the brush. I enjoyed the brush this shave. It's softer. It's still got the backbone, but it was pretty easy to splay. In case you don't know, splay is when the brush gets wide like that. Some people just lather with the tips. If you like that better, do it. I don't. I like to have the splay. It just gives a big luxurious feel instead of just kind of penciling around on your face. Continue to like this handle. Nice and ergonomic. Knob style here to hold on while grinding away at the lather. So this is not a top tier 2-band knot, but it seems to be a pretty good one. So if you like backbone, pretty soft tips, then this would be a good one for you. Or if you're poor, you can maybe get this guy on sale. And but I don't think he's that cheap. I think the synthetics with this handle on AliExpress are very inexpensive, like $15 or $18 or something like that. However, I think you've got to bump up to like 25 or 23 to get the real Badger. That still might actually be a good buy, because the Macedo costs about 44, 45 last time I checked, and that's a good hike. That's twice as much kind of as this Finest. So that's good. That's probably about right. Inexpensive introduction into Badgers, and just know that if you want to spend a little bit more, you can get softer tips, maybe a little bit less backbone if you want. But for some people, honestly, there are people out there who are shaving with brushes that give this exact same feel that cost $150. And this one was more like, I think retail is 25 or 28 or something like that, but I got it on sale at the big 11/11 sale. So we'll finish cleaning that guy up in a little bit. Anything else to report? So the shave, the feel, not super firm, and this is why I don't use the DE89 head, because it feels a little scrapey, and that's by nature of what I was telling you with the blade edge not being supported from the bottom. Looks like maybe 5 or 6 millimeters from the edge of the blade till the support that's on the bottom. And that just allows movement, allows vibration, and so you just don't get as smooth of a shave. At least I don't. But it was fun to try, fun to use, cool to look at. And, you know, if I was an entry-level shaver, then I think that's a good one to start on, to see what you like. All right, well, I'm going to clean up. I'll be right back. A little budget tip for you. I don't really have like waterproof labels and stuff. I just take your standard mailing label sticker there, write what I want on it, and see the reflection there. This is packing tape that I put around it to keep it kind of waterproof. Works. All right, so I'm going to take this little boar brush here. Oh yeah, he's softened up quite a bit. Put him through a kind of practice lather here, and I'll be right back. All right, well, a little side note here. This wasn't the brush I used today, but it's the one I put the little practice lather on. I'm really happy with the backbone of this one. The other Omega that I've been using, that long black handled one, the it's got unbanded bristles. It doesn't have this ink here. And so I think it's more raw. And so maybe it's untreated, unbleached, that sort of thing. And so I think maybe that's why it is being so ornery. It's taken a long time to break in. I'm already happy with the backbone that's on this little guy. He's not big. He doesn't feel as dense in my hand, you know. But let's just, wait a while and watch these. See, already we've got some guys opening up. We'll just keep working him and doing kind of practice lathers, letting him dry completely between. I think that helps with the splitting of the bristles. And we'll watch him grow. Bring him into the fray with the borathon, and we'll see how it goes. I did a practice a palm lather, in case you don't know how that works. Typical loading of the soap, and then when you're ready to go into your bowl and mix or go to your face, you just go to your palm instead, and you just work it, circles, whatever motions you want. Sometimes you have to pick it off the back of your hand and bring it in. Then have a little dribble of water going, put it under there for a second, and then keep working it. Dribble of water every once in a while and just keep working the lather until it gets bigger and bigger. And sometimes it's a little bit of a chore because you're managing, trying to keep it in. But it's a nice way to work a brush and to just try your hand at the lather hand. And also if you're struggling with your water, the hand is nice because as you're working it, your hand is feeling the lather as you're building it. And so that can give you some nice clues on the viscosity as you work it. But I also recommend doing it like maybe after your shave or something. If you need to experiment, let's say, how much water can I really push into this lather? So just keep going with the water, work it, just keep going. And maybe 30 seconds between adding a few drops of water, and just see how much water you can put in it before it breaks apart. Most importantly, just test the lather. How does it look before it breaks apart? So that when you're in a real scenario with your bowl or your face, then you'll know. All right, well, I'm pleased. I think this will be a better representation of the Omega brushes than the big old long guy, because he's so long that even when his tips finally get soft, he's not going to feel with that long loft, he's just not quite going to feel like most of the rest of the brushes I've been using. So we'll put him up there to dry. All right. I'll tell you what, every time I do a practice lather with Mitchell's wool fat, I think, man, I wish I was shaving with that. So maybe that's what I'll use next time. It does tend to crack and get smaller than the container if you don't shave with it very much. And that can definitely affect load time. If you shave with it every day, you can probably reduce your load time by maybe even 15 seconds. But if you shave with it every month, it's going to be a little different. I'll tell you one thing about finest badgers, or really any other badger that has had their tips treated. I think often they use bleach. The tips, that's how they make them so soft. And they dip them in bleach, I don't know how long, but sometimes that makes them hook. And so they, maybe within the first dozen uses, you might look at it when it's dry and you can start seeing the tips hook over a little bit. It doesn't quite feel, as soft when you run your hands over it when it's dry. It's because it's kind of like one side of the Velcro, the kind with all the hooks. Now, I don't think it's best when it's dry to manipulate those hooks very much. I think you're likely to break some. And so don't spend your time like this, is my advice. But when you let that soak before the shave, those hooks change and they soften up. And so sometimes it softens up a little bit, and so you get a really nice feel. Sometimes it softens up a lot, and you get kind of spongy feeling tips, and they're called gel tips. Some people love the gel tips. Me, not so much. But that's something that can happen with treated brushes. So could this you know, could that happen with this guy? We'll see. We'll see. But I just wanted to let you know. He's a nice dense brush. It took a while to clean him to get that soap out. The first use of him, I definitely smelled badger funk. But after the first use, it was almost gone, and right now, totally gone. And I didn't really use strong scented soaps. So for me, the funk goes away easily within the first few uses. All right. Well, face is feeling very good. No irritation at all. No redness. Hey, how's the closeness of this shave? Let's take a look. Nice. I don't really see length in any of the hairs. So that's a good close shave. So it works. Not quite as comfortable as some of the other ones, other razors that I have. And so that's why I don't use that style head as much. But it works. Wonderful scent on the soap today. Good to try this brush again. It softened it up a little bit more. And try the razor. That was fun. And so pretty good shave. Yeah, I hope there was something here that has helped you out. You take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Bye.